Hello there, I'm Nadia Azmi and this is Nightline. Here are the headlines. Kuala Kubu Baru by-election sees a four-cornered fight. And Territorial Sea Act still valid and applicable nationwide, including in Terengganu. Good morning. Campaigning for the Kuala Kubu Baru state seat by-election in Selangor kicked off after the nomination process concluded on Saturday morning. The polls will see a four-cornered clash among Pakatan Harapan, Perikatan Nasional, Parti Rakyat Malaysia, as well as an independent candidate. The submission of the nomination forms for the by-election began at 9 a.m. at the Hulu Selangor District Multipurpose Hall and Sports Complex at Kampung Tun Abdul Razak in Kuala Kubu Baru. The Unity Government's candidate, Pang Sok Tau, arrived at the nomination centre accompanied by Deputy Prime Minister and Barisan Nasional Chairman Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, DAP Secretary General, who is also Transport Minister Anthony Loke, and Selangor PH Chairman, who is also the Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Amiruddin Shari. 31-year-old Pang, who will be defending the state seat for PH, is the former Press Secretary to Local Government and Development Minister Nga Kor Ming. Meanwhile, Hulu Selangor Bersatu Acting Chief Khairul Azhari Saud, who is PN's candidate, was also accompanied by leaders of the coalition, including its chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. Also submitting their nomination forms were Hafizah Zainuddin of PRM and independent candidate Nyao Kei Shin, who were accompanied by their respective supporters. Their candidacy was later announced by Election Commission EC Returning Officer Yohannes Auri Kamarudin after nominations closed at 10 a.m. Each contesting candidate has expressed their commitment to represent the interests of the voters and to serve the community of Kuala Kubu Baru if they win in the polls.
Anak muda, kebajikan anak muda dan kebajikan anak muda dan golongan wanita amat dekat di hati saya dan sudah tentu perancangan ataupun dasar-dasar baru untuk memperkasakan golongan anak muda dan wanita akan dimasukkan dalam manifesto saya.
Kita akan membawa suara-suara rakyat Kuala Kubu untuk Presiden Dewan. Itulah penting untuk kita menjalankan proses pilihan raya.
Saya nak serahkan kita mendewakan perasaan itu.
The by-election, which has been fixed for polling on May 11th by the EC, was called following the death of its three-term incumbent Lee Ki-hyong of DAP on March 21st due to cancer. A total of 40,226 voters are eligible to cast their ballots in the polls. Now, the Kuala Kubu Baru by-election is the time for BN to return PH's favour in assisting UMNO candidates in the previous elections. BN Chairman Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said that DAP, as a coalition partner in the Unity Government, deserves support from all the other component parties.
Ini ketika untuk mereka dibantu dengan dukungan daripada kepimpinan UMNO khususnya dan BN. Dan kita merasakan bahawa kita harus membalas jasa yang telah mereka curahkan ketika pilihan raya kecil di Tioman, Adul Tioman, di Melangai dan juga di Kemaman.
Responding to MCA's stance not to campaign in the by-election unless the candidate is from BN, Zahid expressed confidence that the party would mobilise its machinery at the state level to help in campaigning for PH's candidate Pang Sok Tau ahead of the May 11th polls. When asked about an old video of Pang criticising BN that has resurfaced, Zahid described it as a malicious act by the opposition. The UMNO president maintained that Malaysia's political environment has changed, calling for the opening of a new chapter. DAP will not force any parties or individuals to assist the Unity Government's election machinery in its campaign during the Kuala Kubu Baru by-election. Its Secretary General Anthony Loke said the party will instead intensify its efforts to win over the hearts of voters.
Yang paling penting kita pujuk pengundi, bukan pujuk mana-mana parti. Jadi yang datang membantu kita amat hargai, yang tidak membantu kita tak pasalah, tak ada masalah. Kalau dia rasa dia tak sanggup nak membantu, itu hak dia. Jadi saya tak perlu gaduh dengan bab ini.
Lok, who is also the Transport Minister, added that PH has received tremendous support and commitment from BN to retain the state seat, which is evident from the presence of its chairman, Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, as well as other top BN leaders who came for the nomination process to provide moral support. He also pointed out what was more important was that the candidate fielded by the unity government could represent the administration's voices and ensure they could win to allow a stable and strong government for the constituency's progress and development. Meanwhile, PH is confident that MCA would remain as a component of the unity government. The coalition's Secretary-General, Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail, said there is no issue of lack of support from the party for PH's candidate in the Kuala Kubu Baru by-election.
Saya baru je beberapa hari lepas dalam pertemuan antara pemimpin kerajaan perpaduan, saudara Wee Ka Siong ada duduk sebelah saya pun. Ketika saya mempengerusikan mesyuarat PH dan BN minggu lepas di PWTC, wakil MCA juga hadir, Datuk Lawrence juga hadir. Jadi saya anggap sebagai kehadiran itu sebagai simbol dan kesediaan kerjasama. Saya tengok dari sudut positif.
He added that MCA's participation in the recent meetings of unity government leaders indicates that ties between the party and PH were normal. Previously, MCA Youth had claimed that they will not help campaign for other parties in the Kuala Kubu Baru by-election unless the candidate is from BN. The Wing's information chief, Niao Chu Seong, who reiterated the party's unwavering stance on the matter, also urged everyone to respect MCA's decision to stay out of the polls. The Territorial Sea Act 2012 or Act 750 remains valid and applicable throughout Malaysia, including in Terengganu, despite the Terengganu State Legislative Assembly's decision to reject its use unless declared otherwise by the court. The Prime Minister's office asserted that it was the federal government's position that Act 750 was enacted and passed by Parliament lawfully under the federal constitution.
In a statement on Saturday, the PMO said the purpose of Act 750 was to provide provisions regarding Malaysia's territorial waters and to preserve the integrity of Malaysia's territorial borders and sovereign rights, as well as to ensure the security and integrity of its territory. The statement added that the enactment of the Act was also to fulfill Malaysia's obligations under the 1982 United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. On Thursday, Terengganu reportedly rejected Act 750, which limits the state's maritime boundaries to 3 nautical miles, which is 5.5 kilometers from the coastal area. Terengganu Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Samsuri Mokhtar said the State Assembly rejected the Act, citing its infringement on the state's right to explore resources and generate revenue within its maritime borders.
The government has no plans to suspend the services of Fennec Helicopters and Maritime Operations Helicopters HOM. Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin said this when asked if there was a need to ground both types of helicopters following the Lumut chopper crash on Tuesday. The collision involving both aircraft at the Royal Malaysian Navy base in Lumut, Perak claimed the lives of 10 RMN officers, including 3 women. In the meantime, Khalid confirmed that the wreckage of the 2 helicopters, including the black boxes, had already been removed from the scene of the incident on Thursday. He also said that the investigation into the incident conducted by an investigation board established by the RMN will also involve the Royal Malaysian Air Force and other experts, including the helicopter manufacturers. He also did not rule out the possibility that the investigation would involve external experts. Petrol station operators selling subsidised petrol and diesel who are threatened by fuel smuggling syndicates are urged to lodge police reports. Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said they should not remain silent about the matter and should come forward to report it to authorities as soon as they receive such threats.
Petrol station di negara kita ni, lesennya dikawal selia oleh Kementerian Perdagangan Dalam Negeri. Okay, ya? Dia bab itu, ya, kota dia, kemudian bayaran subsidi dikeluarkan oleh Kementerian Kewangan. Tapi bila ada elemen ugutan, yang tu sudah jadi bidang kuasa polis.
Saifuddin said this at a press conference after attending a crime prevention carnival in Cheras, Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. Meanwhile, Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein said the police have yet to receive any police report from petrol station operators who claim they were threatened by smuggling syndicates. On Tuesday, Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali revealed that there were petrol station operators being threatened by smuggling syndicates to continue selling subsidised diesel to them and had been intimidated by gangsters and thugs. The 2024 Namibian Tourism Expo, which concluded on Friday, served as a platform for cultural exchanges among various countries, including Malaysia. The three-day event was also a gateway for visitors, not only to explore Malaysia's rich heritage, but also for them to experience the country's diverse cultures and flavours. With over 50 exhibitors, the expo, held in Namibia's capital, Windhoek, promoted the unique traditions and cuisines of different countries through a range of displays and performances. Led by the acting Malaysian High Commissioner to Namibia, Datuk Muhammad Ramiz Yahya, the Malaysian High Commission's food and cultural booth offered visitors a selection of Malaysian delicacies. These include bihun goreng, sambal ikan bilis, sup tulang, along with traditional desserts such as kari pap, apam beras and sri muka.
We are exposing our Malaysian food promotion as well as that of our own culture. We are displaying it to the Namibian tourist operator plus all the Namibians of what Malaysia can offer. Through this Namibian Tourism Expo of 2024, we hope many other Namibians will understand what Malaysia is, what Malaysia can offer, and this can actually assist us in penetrating the Namibian economy, markets, for more Namibians to visit Malaysia.
Speaking at the event, Ramiz added that their aim is to enhance economic relations between Malaysia and Namibia and boost Malaysian tourism among Namibians through this event. Their participation also gave them the opportunity to showcase Malaysia's contrasting cultural heritage and attractions to a wider audience, including tourist operators from Zambia, Zimbabwe, Angola and Botswana. At least 10 killed, 13 injured in hotel fire. News from the foreign front when we return.
Pembesaran kupang bergantung kepada tempat. Secara purata lah, kupang ni tempoh untuk harvest dia antara sekitar 8 hingga 9 bulan. Dia makan alga ni, plankton ni, dan dia simpan sebahagian tu di dalam badan dia. Kat situlah bagaimana toksik tu berlaku.
Rupa bawang tu, warnanya, saya percaya itu adalah bawang yang mendapat tempat di hati pengguna-pengguna di Malaysia. Kita memerlukan Cik Tan Chen Chuan ni atas pengalaman beliau.
Stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Aku dah tanang kau. Kalau boleh ulang balik, Mira follow dia, benda ni tak menjadilah.
Kalau saya tak boleh memiliki, orang lain pun takkan boleh memiliki dia.
Syafiqah Ahmad Ismail maut akibat ditikam bekas tunangnya di tempat letak kereta sebuah pasaraya di Keluang.
Dalam kehidupan, tidak boleh berlebih-lebih. Dalam sayang, tidak boleh terlalu berlebihan.
Makin ramai mati mengejut.
Waktu itu saya perasan dia punya tangan tu dah mula membiru.
Masalah jantung, pembunuh dalam diam yang menyerang secara tiba-tiba.
Usually we have to stop the heart for about 30 minutes to 1 hour.
Penyakit ini tidak akan hilang. Sebahagian dari masyarakat tak percaya langsung.
Ikuti diskusi mendalam mengenai kematian mengejut dalam Hello Doktor Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. At least 8 civilians, including children and women, were killed and dozens injured in Zionist bombardment of 2 inhabited homes in the Nusairat camp in the central Gaza Strip on Saturday. Local sources reported that the occupation aircraft targeted a house in the Sultan neighborhood in the Nuzarat camp, which led to the death of 4 citizens, including a baby girl. 4 civilians were also killed and about 30 injured when the occupation forces bombed a house in the same camp. The occupation forces also intensified their bombing of the Al-Mukraka area in the central Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, over in the occupied West Bank, Zionist forces have also shot dead 2 young Palestinians and injured 2 others as they continue their military incursions. And according to the Palestinian Prisoners Society, at least 20 Palestinians were arrested during the raids. In the meantime, Hamas said it was studying the latest Israeli counter-proposal regarding a potential ceasefire in Gaza on Saturday, just a day after media reports said a delegation from mediator Egypt arrived in Israel in a bid to jumpstart stalled negotiations. Deputy Gaza Chief Khalil Al-Hayya said in a statement that the movement will study this proposal and upon completion of its study, it will submit its response. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and several international officials are expected to be in Riyadh this week for talks aimed at pushing for a peace agreement in Gaza to be held on the sidelines of a World Economic Forum meeting. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will also attend the meetings alongside regional leaders, including Qatar's Prime Minister, Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister, Oman's Crown Prince and Bahraini officials. At least 10 people have been killed after a fire broke out late on Friday at a defunct hotel being used as a makeshift homeless shelter in the southern Brazilian city of Porto Alegre. According to the fire department for Rio Grande do Sul state, the fire broke out about 2 a.m. local time and took firefighters around 3 hours to bring it under control. Emergency workers confirmed that there were at least 10 victims at the Garoa Floresta, which was operating without proper authorization. Health authorities later put the number of injured at 13, some in serious condition. The fire department said forensic experts were at the scene to identify the victims and investigate the cause of the fire. They also said the facility did not have a license to operate as a guest house, nor did it have a firefighting plan. The Philippines on Saturday denied a Chinese claim that the 2 countries had reached an agreement over an escalating maritime dispute in the South China Sea, calling the claim a propaganda. According to a spokesperson at China's embassy in Manila, the 2 countries had agreed early this year to a new model in managing tensions in the Second Thomas Shoal without elaborating. However, Philippine Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro said that his department was not aware of, nor it is a party to, any internal agreement with China since President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. took office in 2022. He also said that the Defense Department officials have not spoken to any Chinese officials since last year. China's embassy in Manila, meanwhile, did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Teodoro's comments outside office hours. Malaysia off to an impressive start in Tom's Cup. Sports after this breather.
Geng di Lembah Kelang, jomlah beraya di Karnival Jom Heboh edisi Raya Babas di Putrajaya untuk aneka keriangan bersama keluarga. Temui selebriti studio tonton drama sangat seperti Era Fazira, Radin Zaharatul dan Lan Solo, personaliti media prima dan maskot kami. Juga saksikan dan sertai aktiviti menarik, pesta makanan, hiburan dan hadiah percuma untuk semua sepanjang hari. Temui anda semua 3 hingga 5 Mei ini di tapak parkir Presin 3 Putrajaya mulai jam 9 pagi. Jom, jom, jom!
Mak sekarang ni memang bergantung sepenuhnya kepada stoma bag. Bila dah guna stoma bag ni, dia punya pengeluaran dia tu tak dapat dia kawal. Sekejap-sekejap keluar. Sekejap keluar, bila dia lihat dia macam tak selesa. Dia memang tak macam dulu. Dulu ceria. Sekarang ni dia banyak menangis, banyak bersedih. Lepas tu berat badan susut banyak. Lebih kurang dalam 30 kilo.
We're back with sports. Badminton, the 2024 Thomas Cup. Malaysia edged closer to the quarterfinals after they got off to a flying start in their Group D campaign with a massive 5-0 win over Hong Kong on Saturday. Men's singles shuttler Lee Zijia gave an astounding show to put the team in the lead by beating Lee Chiu Yu 21-18, 21-18 at the High-Tech Sports Centre in Chengdu. 2022 men's doubles world champions Aaron Chia So Wee Yik doubled Malaysia's lead when they overpowered Law Chiu Him, Yung Shing Choi 21-16, 21-12 in just 27 minutes. Second singles Leong Junhao then put up a heroic display to upset world number 27 Angus Ng Ka Long in their first ever encounter that lasted 61 minutes. Malaysia's high-flying second doubles Gozir Fei Nur Izzuddin Rumsani made it 4-0 when they defeated Reginald Lee Tang Chun Mai 21-19, 21-18. Before rising star Justin Ho completed the sweep for Malaysia by overcoming Chan Yin Chak 21-17, 19-21, 21-17 in the fifth match. The victory means the national squad had already sealed their opening group game victory by taking the first 3 points. They will play Algeria on Sunday and favourites Denmark on Tuesday next. On to football, the 2024 AFC Under-23 Asian Cup. Iraq became the final team to check into the semi-finals after a fierce 115-minute battle against 10-man Vietnam on Saturday. The only goal of the match came in the 64th minute when Ali Jassim confidently tucked his penalty high into the roof of the net after Nihad Muhammad was fouled by goalkeeper Quan Van Chuan. Vietnam's hopes of a comeback were snuffed in stoppage time after referee Ko Hyun Jin sent off Nguyen Man Hung following a dangerous tackle on Jassim. The victory sends Iraq into the semi-finals where they will take on Japan on Tuesday. Tennis now, the 2024 Madrid Open. Fourth seed Alexander Zverev of Germany defeated Croatia's Borna Coric in straight sets to reach the round of 16. Zverev showed no weakness in his second-round match against Coric and won confidently at 6-3, 6-2. The 27-year-old will next face Canada's Denis Shapovalov for a place in the quarterfinals. Joining him was Holger Rune. The Dane fought from a set down to defeat Argentina's Mariano Navone 5-7, 7-6, 6-4 in a 2-hour 59-minute battle to reach the round of 16. The world number 12 will play Dutchman Talon Griekspoor next. Four killed in two-vehicle collision. The details when Nightline returns.
Macam dulu riang ria sisimu indah macam dulu aku rindu rasa macam dulu mesra tanpa rasa selalu rasa macam dulu aku rindu.
Pembesaran kupang bergantung kepada tempat. Secara purata lah, kupang ni tempoh untuk harvest dia antara sekitar 8 hingga 9 bulan. Dia makan alga ni, plankton ni, dan dia simpan sebahagian tu di dalam badan dia. Dekat situlah bagaimana toksik tu berlaku.
Rupa bawang tu, warnanya, saya percaya itu adalah bawang yang mendapat tempat di hati pengguna-pengguna di Malaysia. Kita memerlukan Cik Tan Chen Chua ni atas pengalaman beliau.
Stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Makin ramai mati mengejut.
Waktu itu saya perasan dia punya tangan tu dah mula membiru.
Masalah jantung, pembunuh dalam diam yang menyerang secara tiba-tiba.
Usually we have to stop the heart for about 30 minutes to 1 hour.
Penyakit ini tidak akan hilang. Sebahagian dari masyarakat tak percaya langsung.
Ikuti diskusi mendalam mengenai kematian mengejut dalam Hello Doktor Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. Police confirmed 4 people died while 4 others were seriously injured when 2 pickup trucks collided in Kuala Krai, Kelantan on early Saturday morning. 3 were killed at the scene at Jalan Kuala Krai, Gua Musang, while another succumbed to her injuries at the Sultan Ismail Petra Hospital at 1:50 a.m. The recently deceased victim was identified as 60-year-old Samsi Ahmad, who was a passenger in one of the pickup trucks involved in the collision. Samsia was travelling with her daughter, 40-year-old Nur Hayati Harun, her 50-year-old son-in-law Tuan Arzura Jodaud, and her 16-year-old grandson Tuan Muhammad Adam Ashraf. Nur Hayati died on the spot, while her husband and son survived the crash. Arzu is currently in a coma at the University Science Malaysia Hospital in Kubang, Korean, while Adam only sustained injuries on his chin. The accident also claimed the lives of 2 men and injured 2 others in the second pickup truck. The 2 deceased were identified as the driver, 37-year-old Juhazri Juno and 41-year-old Muhammad Anif Matjizi. In the 12:36 a.m. incident, a Toyota Hilux driven by Juhazri skidded out of control and veered onto the opposite lane before hitting a Ford Ranger driven by Arzu. The cause of the crash is being investigated under the Road Transport Act. A 35-year-old woman who stopped her vehicle before crossing the road, causing a fatal accident on the East Coast Expressway 1 LPT1 on Friday, has been remanded for 2 days. The Merloh Police Chief ACP Mazlan Hassan said that the passenger of the woman's vehicle, a 37-year-old Chinese national, was also remanded for 3 days to assist the investigation.
In the 4 p.m. incident, a high-powered motorcycle ridden by a 34-year-old man crashed into the rear of a pickup truck on the fast lane. He was thrown onto the road from the impact while his motorcycle landed on the back of the pickup truck. The victim, who worked as a musician at Kuala Lumpur City Hall, DBKL, died on the spot due to severe injuries to the chest. Initial investigation found that the crash occurred after the pickup truck driver had suddenly braked to avoid hitting a woman on the highway. The woman, who was driving an SUV, had earlier stopped on the left shoulder of the highway before attempting to cross the road. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for causing death by negligence.
In Pulau Pinang, police are tracking down 3 men suspected of splashing red paint at a restaurant in Taman Macang Bubuk, Bukit Mertajam early Thursday. Seberang Perai Tengah Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Helmi Aris said that the incident took place at about 3 a.m. involving a restaurant that has yet to open its doors for business. He said the perpetrators targeted the double-storey eatery, which was scheduled to begin operating on Saturday, and threw red paint across its facade. Authorities are also looking into the suspect's motive. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for committing mischief. Earlier, a 63-second video went viral on social media showing 3 men riding 2 motorcycles splashing red paint at a Nasi Kandar restaurant before fleeing the scene. Before we conclude Nightline this time around, let's take a look as the Paris 2024 Olympic flame sailed for France on Saturday on board a 3-masted ship to mark the final sprint of preparations ahead of the Olympic Games opening ceremony on July 26. With that, I'm Nadia Azmi. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe.